Well, welcome to Coconut Pete's Surfboard Repair and Trading Company. This boat is yet to be named. It's a 1944, I'm going to call it a mini tug because I have no idea what it is. And what we've done is, did a little assessment of all the trinkets and gadgets that are here on this boat. And it's looking pretty good. The hull's sound. It's got brass portholes, etc., etc. We're going to keep it pretty general right now, but we've removed the decking and we are ready to proceed with the project. And here we got vent windows, but see, somebody decided, if you're traveling up and you got a bunch of spray, it'll get in here, but they installed these little plexiglass portholes in order to get air and ventilation here into the little cuddy cabin, which is also fantastic. Pretty stoked. And what I've been told is these little fixtures here, this is your main running light, which should be, I believe, white and red up front, red and green, and that's for port and starboard. And you should have, well, there should be one on aft, but it's up here instead. Now I've heard that these things, like this fixture right here, are quite expensive. The only thing I see is wrong with this, it should have been offset to allow for the anchor chain. Otherwise, and you can tell they probably installed this afterwards because of the fact that your anchor and rod would go through here and run down that way, and this is frozen up, so that's going to be probably a situation. Now if you notice here on this boat, we've got chrome or stainless portholes up front with brass inlay screws here. We don't know what's underneath this, but it appears to be some type of fiberglass. And no, it's stainless. Look at that. How about that? This is fiberglass on wood. What we have here is chrome or stainless steel.
Stainless.
And what we have here is rotted teak wood, or some type of marine wood. That appears to be teak. If you get closer up here, you can see that is teak. It doesn't appear to be mahogany. It's more of a harder wood, and due to this decay here, it appears to be teak, which is also a hardwood. Now I see what they did. They, instead of using the anchor line here, they attached it here and they went here. And that's
they like offset it?
Offset here. You could go port or starboard, either way, to anchor the boat. I say that, I don't think anybody should be up here, but if you were to get up here, you would grab hold of this teak rail up here, which is it needs to be sanded down completely, but we'll leave it installed. We'll have to replace that teak runner there, probably cut it about a third of the way down and re-extend it. And that'll be it on that. We'll use the original teak railing here on the gunnels here. And for a boat built in 1944, it's held up fairly well. So that's what you're going to want to do. Not, torquing out, because this is this is a 100-year-old boat or whatever. And we'll be able to refabricate this, don't worry. This was a oops deal, but look, you're going to hardly notice. I'll float that in.
Break away.
And we'll get that fixed.
All right.
But you learn something when you're working on these things. And even still, even though we got this all peeled away, the screws are really wanting to stay in there. And that's what I'll do. I think I'm not going to try and salvage these. We're going to replace all these anyway. So what you'll do is you come in from the other side, and with how thin that the walls are of this, we're trying to punch out these screws. And obviously you can see we've ruptured both of the porthole brass, which are only brass coated, with a thin brass layer, and looks like some type of marine plywood underneath. So that's concerning. Now I'm trying to get out these two and I'm thinking that probably the best bet would be I can Dremel grind the screws off the back, but punching them out of the porthole is going to be another issue indeed. So that's what we're faced against. Okay, so we found out that this is going to be almost impossible to remove these plates and screws and all the things necessary to remove these portholes. Now, as you can tell, this is a complete one, but it's not. We've ruptured it and we broke it right here, and that's a problem we're going to encounter. The worst part about it is the frozen screws that go through the brass and into this plywood, marine plywood. So one of them was very necessary to remove because we had no glass in it. One portion of glass we broke trying to remove the porthole. So the glass is no big deal to replace, and we'll do that for these two windows. But from here on out, we're going to go ahead and just polish these as best as possible, recaulk them, and get them ready for the ocean. So we're not going to remove them because we will rupture all of this. And that's where we're at right now. So we have one glass was missing, the other one we're going to have to replace. And we're just going to go back with this. Now if you notice, on the backing of these, I got enough threads enough to run some of the square nuts and back into place. I've got enough to do these two windows, and they'll look good, we hope.